department.
Yeah, those are police department.
They have,
Good to go.
as I understand
Thank you so
it,
much, man. I
no
appreciate it.
problem.
I'll shoot you a
A
text.
rapid speed feedback sign, a digital sign. Yes,
Sounds good.
police department, as I understand it, they have more of those than they installed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard like 8 or 10.
You want to just press?
Really?
There you go.
There we go. Because like, that was back in the day with kickers.
We will get those put off, but I think it's right.
At the police department direction?
Yes.
Oh, no problem.
Oh.
I'll write a text for both of those today.
Yeah, so we'll send them something. Well, Ramirez, but yeah, those ones there's a few of them in the city. Ohio Street, Main Street downtown. I think there was one on Gulf. Those are all PD's property.
Awesome.
But we can move them, but we can't put them on. We can't put them on poles not owned by the city. So if it's a street with city street light poles, we understand tell us put anything electrical on their light poles. So that's or a concrete pole.
Yeah, we own the board.
Yeah, I've been over this ad nauseum for Robinson when he was here. Robinson. And Ramirez was on all those emails too. But we can't put them on. They no longer allow us. Only thing we can put on the energy poles are just regular static signs, like a no parking sign or a stop sign. Anything electrical, they don't want anything but their own electrical.
Sure.
Poles, so.
And
Now we're grandfathered in on a few things, but that's coming to an end. So we're rebuilding Main Street between Melvin and Gould next year, and one of our traffic signal, standards, the red, yellow, and green. It's on a wood pole, but it's going away. So because we're redoing the project.
so I have a street. I have a We Energy street light that's been out for 40 months, and I keep calling them. We're like,
Another one sound right to me.
or but it's not our pole. It's We Energy. Yeah, it's on Perry, 731 Perry.
You've got to drill down, and I've done it 100 times. Send it to me. Send an address because.
Well, here's our too. You can go on the city's website, report those there, or the DPW's page, report street light out.
Wisconsin Electric has their own, you just have.
Yeah, no, I've called them. Have done it.
All it is. There.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, we don't own them, but we pay for it.
Yeah.
We lease those lights. City pays, We Energies, about $700,000.
You go onto their outage map, and if you drill.
It's there. It still shows up.
Yeah, well, if you drill down, you click on it, it'll give you can record an incident, and they'll reply back in an email. And so, okay, what's it sent me? I've had, they must know me. I mean, I do it.
Somebody else,
Yeah.
That might have something to do with it because I've reported to coming from the city address thing. So maybe because they did.
yeah, because that's
Right,
an alternate.
right,
That one-
they did 3 days.
That green box on.
She did not send me.
Graffiti again? Yeah, she's that graffiti.
All right.
Not too bad this time. It's like a worse like bar.
And so,
Wait,
right
is that
now we have
Carrie?
5 minutes out,
And,
and we don't have quorum.
yeah, right
Alicia
at the
Sharon.
corner of Starbucks. Right, it's on right.
Oh, Perry and Ray? Okay, I know where you're at, by the post office. And
Of course, there's a house out there, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it has the, more graffiti on it again. I saw it after click on something like, oh, what? Go again.
We are waiting on one more person to have quorum.
Alderman said he would be present.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's usually here.
Yeah.
By this time. But it's like 25 to 7. So hopefully one of them will show up pretty soon.
Did send an email back. I saw you reply.
And
So
Alderman
Max-
was right. I replied to 3 of us.
For today.
On the
Well,
Mac
you
replied,
replied to the original.
no. On the Mac replied, and
Yeah.
I
Oh,
I
replied.
just saw them today. Yeah, do I have to send you a text about the graffiti or?
No, I just kind of, got it out right here. What was the corner?
Right.
Right, yeah. It's across from the post office.
Yeah.
Electricians just go out, spray paint over it. Is that what we're doing with those?
It's not a big graffiti this time, it's just like a word like bar or something like that. BREBAR or something like that. But I laughed because I remembered our conversation and then drove by and went, oh, more graffiti.
Well, the good news is we have 4 electricians on staff now, so we should be able to get to some things a little quicker.
Alright, did anyone ever check out the lights on the 2000 block of Center Street? If you recall,
The what?
2000 block of Center Street. There was a light right in front of,
Like 2000 block
yes, 2000 block.
of Center Street.
Mhm.
You're talking street light.
Yes. And one's out in
It's like
the alley.
7:31 period.
In the alley? The
Yes.
same
and
block
then
or different light?
Same block,
Look for-
but one's out in the
That's,
alley. I don't remember the
that's a-
lady's
Yeah.
address, but the one that's in front on Center Street, her address is 2033. And she said the light in front of her house was out.
Here, I get a hold of Sean tomorrow and have him get something on social media about Free Street. Difficult, nor should be all.
All right.
Get it out there.
I think this lady called me.
Yeah, just anybody and everybody should do it. It's quite easily, and they're not finding it on our website, you know, it's right there. And it's so easy to self-report, it's probably buried in a couple pages or links on our website, which I know Adele is having our website revamped, so it's probably a little more clunky and clumsy to navigate, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And see if you can just draft something.
7:37 period. No, 31, 7:37 period. Work request number 50265, submitted 9/3, that's the most latest one, because I originally submitted on 6.
Well, there's another part of the website where you can report the energy polls. And it's a lot easier, it's just you put the number in and
I just told we're gonna.
Yeah. I'll go the whole gamut, our lights, their lights.
They respond saying whether you're an alder, you're a staff, or you're a citizen. Get in their portal. They don't know, don't care much.
My name must be flagged highly. I have, I probably have 300 bills, electric bills with my name on it. For,
Spinning a street light.
well. It's my
I
email.
thought he was in Georgia. The person that I talked to was in Georgia.
Yeah, you're on the wrong one. Site.
No, he said, no, we haven't.
Oh,
Work from home program.
So how long do we wait? 10 minutes.
Like college, 10 minutes. You'll be here.
Very pleasure. How long you say?
You want to call David and see if he's coming?
You have his number?
I think so.
I have his number.
There he
Oh,
is.
there he is. Yay.
guessing he's coming.
Yeah.
I got
He's here. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, the hour being 5:30 on September 24th, 2024. I will now call the Public Works and Service Good evening. Order. Mr. Pritchlock, would you call the roll, please?
Madam Chair, Alder Jones,
Present.
Alder Jarrett, no longer here. Alder Escada. He was absent.
She did not ever reply, so
Alder Mack,
Present.
Alder Perez.
President,
thank you. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for August 27th, 2024.
I'll second.
Yeah, you get out. Okay, it's been motioned and second that the minutes from August 27th, 2024 be approved. Any questions, comments, adjustments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First item on our agenda is 0817-24. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Jeff Sturban, Walden 3 Middle High School, directing principal requested to close off the south sidewalk of Rupert Boulevard from Chicago Street west to the cemetery during the 2024-2025 winter season. Staff recommendation that the Racine Unified School District be granted permission to close off the sidewalk on Rupert Boulevard, Chicago Street west to the cemetery from December 1st, 2024 to April 1st, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve item 0817-24. Any questions, comments?
We do
Seeing
this
none.
every year.
The what?
We do that every year.
Yes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item is 0803-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2024181, Myers Park Breakwater Restoration. Staff recommendation that contract 2024181, Myers Park Breakwater Restoration be awarded to CW Corporation. Popero, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
In the amount of $82,084 with an alternate bid of $99,918 for a total of $182,002.
Second.
Mr. Briscoe? Finally, okay. Now you had
I
stood up, so I thought you needed to ask.
There was a error in the issue with this was for the park department.
Oh,
So this
okay.
was actually large.
In the subject line, we'll have it corrected.
I just wanted to point out that this bid will be contingent on approval from FEMA. We are still waiting on their approval. That's pre-approved, but we haven't got the project approval for it yet. So that's, we're getting it now so we can have it done by the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded that we approve item 803-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion passes. Next item is 0799-24. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2024062 CCTV sewer inspection. Staff recommendation that contract 2024062 CCTV sewer inspection be awarded to Green Bay Pipe and TV LLC in the amount of $665,035.11, they being the lowest responsible bidder. Is there a second?
No,
Okay,
but I do have a question on it.
that's what I say, discussion.
Yeah, so it looks like when we estimated the project at $300,000 more, and we're approving this? Why?
This is work that's gotta be televised prior to construction projects that are already going on. We have the funding for it. We just put an estimate in. Green Bay TV and pipe has been giving us pretty much the same price for years, probably 3-4 years in a row. They haven't adjusted their price per foot. And all of a sudden this particular one, they bumped it up because they haven't been getting any competition. They bumped it up probably 50 to 75 cents per foot.
So we, from our original estimate of 375,000 to 665,000, and that was the lowest bidder. And you're saying that at this point, we need to get it done, we're not gonna suspend the contract and rebid it out?
Correct.
And we're not gonna rebid it out again, because what?
Because the prices that Green Bay TV and pipe gets this project every year.
Mhm.
And their prices have been stagnant for years, and they just decided that since they haven't had much competition when it comes to bidding, that they were gonna bump them all up per foot. I mean, we're talking, each one of these things is like $1 per foot, and that's how much we do is, several thousand feet of a whole bunch of different sizes of pipe, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and that's just how it came in. Just that the prices are all up 50 cents to 75 cents per foot.
So based on the other bid of 3 million, the 665 seems reasonable?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to change my comment to approve. Second, I mean.
Madam Chair, if I may,
No.
just for the committee's clarification here. The work that's being proposed here, it's split up amongst various, this is not on the levy, it's spread out over the enterprise fund, stormwater utility, the special revenue fund, the sanitary sewer maintenance fund, and part of this is done for the wastewater utility inspector sewers. So there is funding available, even though the low bid came in over what was estimated. National Power Routing, I believe they're out of Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. This is one of these areas where there's very few bidders around it. For example, National Power Routing is going to throw a big number at it. I guess, we're fortunate Green Bay Pipe and TV is televising. We probably need to look at this in the future, try to open this up to see if we can maybe do some type of master contracting with them and getting that through Common Council. This was necessary work. This is the whole basis for how we do our asset management. We need to do the televising, determine what issues we have with our collection system on both sides. We also do this advertising for the wastewater utility as well. And particularly, it's timely because those assets that need repair or rehab that are on paving projects next year or the year after need to be identified so we get those taken care of before we pave the road. So, it's a little disconcerting to see the bids come in that much higher than the estimate. We may need to rethink how we do this because we are going to pay higher prices on this in the future, it appears. Because they have recognized that they're not getting much competition the way of bid. When the second lowest bidder is 5 times your price, or maybe last year was 7 times your price, you're not going to leave money on the table. However, we can't let them also bid their work out, at 2 or 3 times what they're submitting now. I mean, there is cost control that we have to figure out a way to exercise on. So we will come back, I think, with a different strategy next year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from committee members? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve item 0799-24. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Our next item is 0801-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2024188 City Hall elevator upgrade. Staff recommendation that contract 2024188 City Hall elevator upgrade be awarded to Express Elevator LLC in the amount of $315,000. They being the lowest responsive bidder. Funding is available in 45057,200 DPW building improvement.
Move to approve. Second. One question.
Go ahead.
So in the past, we've talked about the elevators here and in the safety building having particular needs as well as the air conditioning system, whatever it's called. Is this express elevator company able to meet the standards for this particular type of elevator that we have?
Yes,
Is
they
that
are.
why?
Yes, sir. They actually are they're the ones we use to do all the routine maintenance type work.
Mhm.
This happens to be a larger bid project, so they do the work at the safety building. Matter of fact, we just had a guy get stuck in that elevator. Our night, our second shift, guy in our buildings. And, we had to have an emergency project done by them over there. So, so they are well aware of all of our problems. They're well aware of our systems. They're well aware of the maintenance issues with regard to those.
That is exactly the reason why we've had this project in CIP for the last few years.
Yeah.
Finally got approved because we don't want that to happen here at City Hall, particularly when there are customers, residents, staff in these elevators.
Sure.
And then if it's a really bad failure, an emergency shutdown for repair, if it's bad enough, it's gonna cost a lot more money and time than a scheduled bid, like, assistant commissioners put together and get it scheduled and drilled.
Other questions from committee members? Seeing none, motion is in
We
order.
have a motion, a second.
That's everything.
My apology. It has been moved and second that we approve item 0801-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Our next item is 0804-24. Communication sponsored by the chair. On behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Service, submitting final payment for contract 0P4122 Lincoln Spring State Bridge Removal. Piper Brothers Contractor. Well, construction, excuse me. Staff recommendation is to work completed by Piper Brothers Construction on contract 2024122 Lincoln Springs State Bridge removal be accepted and final payment authorized for a total contract amount of $116,827.54. Final payment to include retainage.
Move to approve. Second.
Do you have any comments to make?
I have a question. Is this all fully funded by us or is this DNR money as well or anything like that since it's a bridge?
As far as I know, we are funding this one. I'm not sure if the state would be in person at a future date or not.
Right.
You're saying no?
No, the bridge funding, how it works, this was a request, I think, by the Alders of Town Council fund the removal of that bridge. So, no, the only way that DOT, funds bridge projects is if, you're gonna repair them or replace them. And then to do that, you have to go through a pretty exhaustive, solicitation to get an engineer out there to do that evaluation and then establish a sufficiency rating on it. And if the sufficiency rating is such that it means it qualifies for funding, then you get it. And sometimes your sufficiency ratings are still above their threshold. It's very odd, kind of have to let your bridges deteriorate to a point where they're eligible for funding. So that's how they work, but they don't typically fund removal. They fund repair and replacement. But then you have to have the evaluation done, submit an application.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none? Do we approve this one already? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Our next item is 0830-24. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Service, submitting final payment for contract 2024123 Island Park Pavilion staircase relocation, Absolute Construction Enterprise contractor. Staff recommendation that the work completed by Absolute Construction Enterprise on contract 2024123 Island Park Pavilion staircase relocation be accepted and final payment authorized for total contract amount of $46,400 final payment to include retainage. Contract 2023029 was authorized under resolution 0420-24 on May 21st, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second,
Do you have any comments? Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead. I mean,
Yes, officer, that's fine. So the certificate for payment is just for 22,422, and the total is 46,000, is that correct? Because we have previously paid them so many.
Yes, that's what we owe them yet.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask.
seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next item is 0824-24, communications sponsored by the Chair of the Department of Public Works. Public Works, committing change order number 2 to contract 2024107 for building tuck running. Staff recommendation that change order number 2 to contract 2024107 for building tuck running for doing construction contractors be approved in the amount of $116,263. Physical note funding for this change order is available in Ort Objects 4504057,200 for building truck funding.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It's a change order number 2. It's in front of you. We need numbers right now. Change number 2 is just some additional tuck point areas that we found along the City Hall Annex and Public Safety Building. Like I said, over the past couple of meetings where we've dealt with this project, we're trying to get as much of this tuck pointing on the building envelope as we can done. The larger item on this change order is we do have the tower for the bridge over at State Street there. Needs a lot of tuck pointing work. It seemed to make sense to put it into this change order, into this project. But it does make up the bulk of what's, and the main reason for that is because for the cost is the access. So I think they're gonna have to be on some lifts over the river, and do a little bit of protection with the river in terms of some catchment. Now that being said, I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm probably about 90% sure a portion of that 95,000 will be reimbursed by the state. So I can't say all of it for anymore because the state's budget for bridges is woefully underfunded. However, I can say I think with a good degree of certainty that we'll get more than $7,000 back from the state, which keeps us under budget on this project.
We follow reimbursement for due end of January of every year, so we'll find out after that how much that reimbursement will be approved by the state.
Yes.
You might have just read a little article in the paper this week about bridge money that put in the city. That was our application that we submitted in January. We received $600,000+ reimbursement from the state for work on bridges.
What was it, 600,000?
Yeah, it was in the paper this week.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second,
It's been motion and seconded to approve item 0824-24. Am I correct on that? I don't have a pen. Does anybody have a pen I can borrow?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I can mark off what is done.
Oh.
Thank you. Think of No further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Seeing no further questions, ayes have it as far as the previous item. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Our next item is 0832-24. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works. Limiting change order number 1 for contract 2024053, College Avenue curb replacement, Erie Street, George repairs, Beasley Concrete LLC contractors. Staff recommendation that change order number 1, contract 2024053, Howard Avenue curb replacement, Erie Street, Joint repairs, Beasley Concrete LLC, contracted be approved in the amount of $81,320. Alderman. There's any, I did all the.
This is, well, basically we had to go with the name, that's how we originally bid it, was College Avenue Curve, which was eliminated from this project. And the Erie Street joint repairs, this change order basically is the addition, we fell about 250 feet short of 3 Mile on the joint repair on Erie Street, and we had the money, so we just figured we'd go up to 3 Mile and get a nice clean end. But that's kind of where the change order falls. With that, original contract was approved in the amount of $124,158 on the resolution number 0406-24 of May of this year. This change order brings the contract total to $205,478, and that's all for joint repair on Erie Street. Joint repair slab replacement on Erie Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve item 0832-24. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. The next item is 0821-24, communication sponsored by the chair. On behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting change order number 8, contract 2023029, Racine Public Works Transfer Station. Staff recommendation that change order number 8, contract 2023029, Racine Public Works Transfer Station, check construction be approved in the amount of $111,010.90. Physical note funding for the change order is available in Ort Object 45040 57110 Transfer Station.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Kristoff, did you have any comments?
What I'd like to say on this one is this goes back to the site selection where we have hazardous materials all over the site. So we have a realigned storm sewer. This was all those spoils that had to go off site and be dumped at a landfill and generally so that's the bulk of the change order. The other piece of that is the biggest part is the scale software and pertinences installation. So out there's a scale where all of our trucks come in, they scale in. We get a tonnage from that scale that communicates with the computers in the office and their software that we deal with on those computers that allows us to track daily, monthly tonnages, track any issues with the scale itself, and what have you. So those are the two bulk items in that change order itself.
Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, motion is in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion is second to approve item 0821-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Our next item is 0823-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Department of Public Works submitting final payment for contract 202-3029 Racine Public Works Transfer Station Check Construction Contractor. Staff recommendation that the work completed by Check Construction on contract 202-3029 Racine Public Works Transfer Station be accepted and final payment authorized for a total contract amount of $4,803,625.61. Final payment to include retainage.
Move to approve. Second.
This was the one that asked you about deferring.
Oh,
We're to defer.
yes, thank you.
Unresolved. Thank you.
I wasn't looking at my sheet then. All right. It has been moved and second that we defer this item until further notice. 0823-24. Motion and second to defer, you motion and you second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's been motion and second that we defer item 0823-24. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item, 0833-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Department of Public Works submitting final payment contract 202-3198 I&R reduction, 1H rehab and private drainage global contractors. Staff recommendation that the work completed by global contractors on contract 202-3198 I&R reduction, MH rehab and private drainage be accepted and final payment authorized for total contract amount of $704,139.36. Final payment to include retainage.
This isn't having to be deferred, is it? Move to approve.
No, I only had one deal earlier. We got that was on 8/20.
Second.
It's been motion and second that we approve item 0820-24. And item 833-24, my apologies. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item is 0820-24. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Commission of Public Works submitting amendment number 1 between the City of Racine and the Waste Management. Staff recommendation that the Public Works and Service approve amendment 1 and direct the Commission of Public Works to sign the agreement with the City of Racine and Waste Management.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Christoph, did you have any comments?
I don't have any comments, unless there's some questions.
I have some questions. Okay, so why are you reading this?
So, the initial, the initial contract with Waste Management and Landfill Services was to take our garbage, our municipal solid waste out to, Metro Landfill, which is, borders Milwaukee and Franklin, west. All this does is add another location. It doesn't add any costs, the tipping fees will remain the same. It is mainly for if, for some reason, Metro closes. Who knows, maybe the winds at Metro are howling and the winds at Pheasant Run, which happens to be in Kenosha and the west part of the county. Maybe it's calm there, you know, so, this would be to cover taking our trash to that location. We're not gonna pay anything more in tipping fees. However, we will, likely save some money on trucking costs because it is a shorter run, so, but as far as our contract with Waste Management goes, which this item deals with, it is a no cost. It is simply adding another location.
Does that answer your question? Am I correct? Yes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes, the motion passed. Our next item, the final item is 0818-24. Communications presented by Alden Jones on behalf of the city attorney requesting authorization and direction that certain city-owned parcels of real estate may be utilized by the city of Racine and or the state of Wisconsin for the North Main Street Road Improvement Project, including the right to construct, cut, and or fill slopes, and including for such purpose the right to operate the necessary equipment thereon, and the right of ingress and egress as long as required for such public purpose, including the right to preserve, protect, remove, or plant thereon any vegetation that the highway authorities may be deemed necessary or desirable. Recommendation that the city of Racine authorize and direct the following portion of parcel described below may be utilized for the North Main Street Road Improvement Project, including the right to construct, cut, and or fill slopes, and including for such purposes the right to operate the necessary equipment thereon, and the right of ingress and egress as long as required for such public purpose, including the right to preserve, protect, remove, or plant thereon any vegetation that the highway authorities may deem necessary or desirable in and to the following lands in the city of Racine, Racine County, Wisconsin, described as follows. Partial 10 of Transportation Project Plan, Plat 2703-0901-4.01, recorded as document 2639-838 as the Register of Deeds Office in Racine County, Wisconsin. Property, interest, and rights for said partial 10 consist of temporary limit and easement. Also, partial 10 of Transportation Project Plat 2703-0901-4.02, recorded as documented 4641-619 at the Register of Deeds Office in Racine County, Wisconsin. Property, interest, and rights of said partial 10 consist of temporary limit easement. Also, property 10 of Transportation Project Plat 2703-0901-403, recorded as document 2641-620 at the Register of Deeds Office in Racine County, Wisconsin. Property, interest, and rights of said partial 10 consist of temporary limited easement, commonly known as 2131 North Main Street. Physical note, no cost.
I had a question.
Attorney Letley,
What does this mean? And is this in Racine too?
It's up. I think it's right by there. It's strip of land on the street. This is a state project. They need to access the Racine property on a temporary basis to be able to perform the project. And they park vehicles there that they have to check through and things like that. So this just this is the city allowing the state to use the city's property just for this short period.
Is the zoo aware that this will be having outskirts? No?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I would move the approval.
And that's the reason that it's only a temporary limited easement, right? They only need it while they're working, right?
And once the project is done, they'll restore it. That'll be it.
So why does that have to be recorded with the Register of Deeds?
It's the plats for the construction project already been recorded. So that's what the reference, that all these have been recorded, the plats for the project, so they need to be added to that for that purpose. So the public is on notice that the city gets to use. I mean, easements generally speaking, and the state is asking for us to do this. Specifically, the reason we're doing it is the state is asking. So
Well, there's a project plat that has to be recorded that shows all interest in land that the state has when conducting a project. Most of them, all the time, are temporary interest in land, temporary limited easements. I mean, they just need to get on your property, maybe do a little grading, do some form setting, rebuild the sidewalk and driveway connection to it, or maybe the corner where they gotta put an ADA ramps. The exception is usually when they need some land and fee, they maybe need a little widen the right of. So this is public land, so we're also doing this process privately with about 60-some properties along Main Street from Poole to Malden to make sure that they have their documents in order as well. And those are recorded, registered deeds, and the city takes care of processing that. Well, it's a city-owned land, so it's kind of like we're dealing with ourselves, if you will.
Kind of, it is odd because it's sort of, we're participating in the project because of the state project, they've asked for this. Okay, second.
Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Please signify by saying aye. And this will exhaust our agenda for this afternoon. Thank you all so much.
Everything else was good. I didn't get
Good night.
to catch up on